Talmor, Shishin Magachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, I'm Alison Larkin, writer, comedian, narrator, and host of the Jane Austen podcast. Join me as we embark on a journey through Austen's timeless stories, starting with Pride and Prejudice. The Jane Austen podcast with Alison Larkin is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello world and welcome back to another episode of Thanks for Coming In. I'm your host, Jillian Clare. For those of you tuning in for the first time, this is the show where I speak to fellow actors about their journey in the business, and of course they share a good audition story. Now sometimes those are funny, sometimes those are sad, and sometimes they really just throw us for a loop, take us on a roller coaster, but it's always great. How is everyone doing this week? I am certainly getting into the holiday spirit. I hope you all are too. I love this time of year, although I do wish it was a little chiller because it is still so warm in Los Angeles. And I just want to wear my sweaters, and the weather is just no, you can't. But I still am, really. I'm sitting in my office with a huge sweater on right now, and I may be burning up, but dang it, it's November, so I'm doing it anyway. Today on the show, we have the lovely Muretta Moss. You may remember her from the TV show The Inspectors. She's also just a super cool woman who is out there creating her own stuff, like the web series Died, Highlighted, and Hopeful. She has another new web series coming out called Intersection that she co-created, wrote, and starred in. She is a total badass, and she has a brand new movie, a Loud House Christmas movie, premiering November 26th on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus. We talk about bringing an animated character to life and so much more. So here is my conversation with Muretta. And welcome to the show, Miss Muretta Moss.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you as well. How are you on this lovely day?
It is really lovely here in Atlanta. It's 70-ish degrees.
Nice.
So yeah, it actually gets cold at night. It was 39 degrees as our low. Not to give you the weather report, but it's
Oh my gosh.
if you don't go out in the morning, if you don't make it outside after, before 10 a.m., you have no idea.
That's wild. I'm in Los Angeles, and today it's super, super cloudy. It's been really foggy lately, super foggy, which is super bizarre to me.
Yeah, you've got that June gloom,
Yeah.
through the fall.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Coming in hot. Well, I'm super excited to have you on the show today and to talk about your new film coming out on Nickelodeon in a couple weeks. Well, I guess when this airs, it'll be next week. But before we get to that, I want to go back and I want to know how you got into acting. What made you want to become an actor? Was it something you knew as a child? Was it something you discovered as an adult? What put you on this crazy path?
Right. Well, it was something that I discovered as an adult, in college, because I was just struggling to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And it seemed like everyone around me had it figured out. And I, switched majors a lot, and acting was never something that it was a possibility. I don't know any actors. We were exposed to theater and the arts, but not actual, they weren't
Right.
tangible
Right.
people. And I loved I love TV. Like I love like getting to know a character and like revisiting them all the time. But I sat myself down. I had my freshman year was really quite depressive. And I was like, what do you want to do if you could do anything in the world? And my first choice would be a country music singer. But I like can't sing. I don't know why I have that like inside of me. but like that would be like so dreamy.
Yeah.
But my second choice, plan B, was to be an actress. And so I started taking classes. I transferred colleges so I would be more in Atlanta to just have access to the classes and the auditions. I got a college packet from UCLA because I was gonna try and transfer there, but that got vetoed. My parents are very supportive, but they were not supportive of me going to LA at 20 years old, which
it makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have. I don't even know. That could have just been messy. Who knows where I'd be now? But I just started that, and even then, taking classes, auditioning regionally. Atlanta was just like a very small regional commercial market. I never thought that I could be an actual actress, so I decided to go in and do like TV reporting.
Oh, how fun.
Interned. It was. You think?
Oh no!
I interned about an hour and a half. Well, maybe not quite. Macon, Georgia. I got an internship with a news station there because it was just, I think, smart on my part because it was a market where I would be able to get a job. And after interning a little bit, like they put me on as a general assignment reporter part time, and it was so much work. And also, like, a good day is when bad things happen. So that's not my vibe. It was not my vibe at all. So I was like, why are you doing this when you haven't even attempted, to like actually be a working actress? So then I moved to LA.
Wow.
And now I'm back in Atlanta. I stayed there 10 years, and so now I'm back.
That's amazing. So did you
my journey.
graduated college with some form of acting degree, or did you not get an acting degree?
No, I didn't. I got a public policy degree, and then I was like,
fun.
"Oh, what do I do?" I went, well, I mean, and that was kind of a thing. Again, parents supportive, but they're like, "You can get." Oh my gosh, my kitty is here, and
Hi, kitty cat.
So this is Lil.
Hi, friend.
She's a friend, and now she's gone. So I supportive, but get an actual, like, not, I think an acting and fine arts degree is a real degree, but I got a public policy degree, went to grad school because I was just trying to buy time, and got a master's in public administration, never used it. And so then, but I was always taking acting classes on the side and pursuing acting that way.
I think it's almost, I mean, there's certainly something to be said for, going to college for acting. It's incredibly difficult, and it's a whole thing and unto itself. I mean, very hard. But I also think that as actors, our job is to know so much about so many things and be able to learn about new things. So I feel like having a degree in something else too is really helpful in not only character work, but like the fact that this is a business. Like, you are a product half the time, and you are a business.
Totally. Yeah. I think it would have been nice to have found my people as far as like college within a theater community. But yeah, as much as I can like shape my path from this side, there's no regrets in that because it was like an experience all the way.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have knowledge that, I mean, you never would have had that knowledge without getting that certain degree, and who knows when you're going to use it for a role.
Right. No, I know. Right. Even though like it would have been nice to get a business degree instead of a public administration degree, because like this is a business, and there's just a little catching up to do when you're like thinking about it from a public government standpoint. But yeah.
So you decide to move to LA. Did you ever think of moving to New York, or was it always LA? That's where I need to go.
LA. It was just, I used to, while I was in college, be like a trade show girl.
Mm.
So we would travel everywhere and we would do shows in LA and Vegas a lot. And I just my times before I moved to LA were like so epic and like like an LA fairy tale,
Yeah.
like at Saddle Ranch, like just like running into celebrities, having like a karaoke night and like Journey gets up on stage and
Oh my
sings,
gosh.
Tracy Morgan is there. It was like one of those like, oh my gosh, this is what LA is like all the time. It's just like fun and celebrities and it just was like yes, it was one of those. I know LA is it's a tough town, but when you visit, there's just some energy that like you get wrapped up in that you just like
Yeah.
it's just so enamoring. So it was always just LA, just from my personal experiences there. And New York is a little too chilly. And
Yes.
I was always taught too, New York is more expensive than LA. I don't know if that's still said.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, oh man, I would love to live in New York. I feel like that was a like I definitely have a yearning to at least live there for like a year just to have that experience.
100%. I've always felt that way too. Like I always have wanted just that like increment of time just in New York and not experiencing anything else, just being there and like feeling what it's like to be a real New Yorker. Because I have so many friends who live out there. My two best friends live out there. So I'm always
Nice.
there, but I've never like lived there and like settled down and had my stuff there. And I just feel like that's just so, I don't know. It's always been something that I've wanted to do.
Yeah. Oh, even when you say that, like my
Yeah.
heartstrings going to New York. Just but it also when you get older, and this is not a good excuse, but it's hard to start over,
Hmm.
and like make if you I don't have like close friends there, so just like making friends and things like yeah, I just feel so lucky for the friends I have here that I would miss them too much.
Aw.
But again, I felt that way when I left LA too. Like I made such good friends.
So let's get to when you moved to LA. So you moved to LA and then did you have an agent, a manager? Did you do some workshops? How did you like hit the ground running when you got here?
I did it all. Like whatever they said you need to do, I was like, okay, great. And not in a, and I'm not type A, but just like I will like I would like I've got that gusto and I want this. So I didn't have a manager or agent right away, but I eventually like actually probably not eventually. I got C level and then I would just like, well, this isn't nothing's happening
Mm-hmm.
here and then just work it to get to B level and well, I guess B minus level. No. No, I don't want to, but it was such a journey to get reps and to get actually sent out. And when I did leave, I did have good reps.
Mm.
But I don't have LA reps now, which I would love. Ding ding.
Ding ding.
Putting that out in the universe. Yeah.
No world.
But I did the casting director workshops. I mean, I took a class on how to slate, which looking back now, I was like, oh, there's so many people after our money, because there's no secret sauce. Just be yourself when you
Mm-hmm.
slate. So I got the breakdowns illegally, and
Yes.
this was now 15 years ago, and I would drive around and drop my headshots off anywhere I could based on the breakdowns. And a lot of times I'd just be leaving them like at the front gate
Mm-hmm.
of a studio. I mean, it might never get inside, until like a week later and that deadline is passed, but I did it and I never heard a thing from those. And then I started like trying to like get the emails and just really advocating for myself, but it was like hitting a brick wall. That's what I felt like a lot of times. And then I decided to take a break from like a scene study class and I took improv classes.
Mm.
And that's where I just found my people. I had a chance to perform an outlet on stage and that really made the LA experience complete for me, like the training I got as far as like comedy and acting and improvisation. Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so funny that you brought up like literally delivering headshots because that's I mean, I've been an actor since I was 8 and I recently found demo reels that were on VHS tapes. And my mom was like, yeah, we used to send those to casting directors, literal VHS tapes. And I'm like, oh my
Oh my
God,
gosh.
that is so
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah, and that's a lot. I mean, I would imagine that's like quite a lot of
Yeah.
resources. Oh my
VHS
gosh,
tapes and
that's
like
that's so
postcards,
cute.
like, watch me on whatever this weekend.
Yep,
All the
yep,
time.
yep.
Now we can just
Oh,
send emails. I mean, so much easier.
yeah, or just like tag them in an Instagram post. I wonder how they like that. But
Yeah.
oh, that's adorable. I would like to see your VHS
Oh
reel.
gosh.
If we could find a VHS player.
I did last year during the quarantine. I went out to Goodwill. I found a VHS player, and then I slowly started converting all of our old home videos to like MP4s. Took forever. So I do have it. It's somewhere. I'll have to find it again.
Oh my gosh. I had a friend and he's pretty successful now, but one of his first reels, he like incorporated like home
Yes.
video with it, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cute. How could anyone not hire you?"
Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in LA, you're doing your thing, you eventually get your representation, you're moving up, you're working. I mean, you
Yep.
have an extensive resume, so you've been doing this for a long time. Um, what made you decide to move back to Atlanta?
So I have a friend that moved out to LA about a year before me,
Mhm.
and then he moved back to Atlanta a year before me, and he said, "I've booked more in Atlanta in a year
Mhm.
than I did in LA in 10 years." And I said, "Okay, I will see you there."
Wow.
It was really easy for me to go back home because I knew, I had an agent there. I knew the town and family as well. So it I mean, but I was like, "Oh, yeah," and I literally had this mindset of like, "I'll just book everything and then, like, go back to LA."
Right.
But it's such a journey. I mean, my career is such a journey, and you know, so I have, like, these excuses of why I wasn't more successful, like, at my time in LA, like, the writer's strike happened, there was this boom of reality
Mm,
TV, but this is all just I don't understand why some things happen, and some things don't, but it there was I always I worked as much as I could, and I really enjoyed it. But Atlanta, just the opportunities that have presented itself here, have have been great for me.
mm,
I know everyone has a different story, but it's been really nice, and the community has
yeah.
grown, and that's been really nice.
It's interesting because more and more on this show, I've been talking to people who don't live in LA or New York, like who live in smaller cities. Not that Atlanta's small, but smaller compared
No,
to
yeah,
LA and New York town. Um, but it's just interesting to me because it's really cool to watch our industry in this time just like slowly but surely expanding to where you don't have to be in California, you don't have to be in New York to be a working actor, a working director, cinematographer, whatever it is you want to be in the entertainment industry. It's this really weird like time. I feel like we're on this precipice of just this boom that's going to happen where everyone will just be like, "Oh no, you can do anything anywhere and it's fine."
right. I mean, it still blows my mind that there is so much work here, and there's like every day I will pass like a film or TV, some type of set. There's those yellow signs
Mhm.
everywhere, and it blows my mind because there was nothing here, and then there was, and so yeah, I feel the same way. There's and just everywhere. I think like across the country
Yeah.
now, like with New Mexico and Texas, like it's just. LA and New York will always be LA and New York because they are just so like just brewing with creativity and we don't have the writers rooms like LA
Mhm.
does, and there's some blocks missing, but it is definitely building and trying to support something like that, but it takes time
Yeah.
and you know yeah.
I think our industry is going to look a lot different in 20 years. Personally,
Yeah.
I feel that it's happening, that like, I mean, if you have people like Tyler Perry and Marvel like exclusively shooting in Atlanta. I mean, it's incredible what like where other companies are going to go and where people are going to set up their home bases.
Yeah, and so and even like top talent like from that are normally based in LA and New York, they're like, "Oh, I don't have to be here
Mhm.
for work because I won't necessarily be working in LA." So they're even moving and becoming more accessible for some of these Atlanta shows than they would otherwise, which just I don't know. That's cool. I don't I'm like because there's you still hear where there's not a lot of like the lead roles are still being cast in LA and New
Yeah.
York, but it's just it's happening more here.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Loud House Christmas
Mhm.
movie that's coming out on
Woohoo!
Nickelodeon. Yep, on November 26th, the day after Christmas, or no, the day after Thanksgiving. Like, I mean, that's a lead role we had, like we had it's an ensemble cast, but you know, that I booked off of tape here with a casting director I never worked with before. So,
Wow.
you know, you just never know.
You can shop from anywhere doing pretty much anything. You might shop while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast. And however you shop, we all know and love the thrill of the hunt. But do you also know how to get the thrill of the best deals? Because Rakuten shoppers do. With Rakuten, they get the deals they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Sephora, Nike, and even Expedia if you're looking to get some travel in. And getting cash back doesn't mean you have to miss out on sales because those can just be stacked right on top. It's easy to use and based on a simple idea. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back through PayPal or check. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten. As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But we also sell merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell and grow at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. They have an all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS system, so wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. Shopify has allowed us to share something tangible with the podcast community we've built here, selling our beanies, sweatshirts, and mugs to fans of our shows without taking up too much time from all the other work we do to bring you even more great content. And it's not just us. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify is also the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/REALM now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Okay, so now that we're here, let's talk about this movie. Because how cool is it to be the real life version of an animated character that so many kids already know?
It's it's like just cute. Like I love it. I love that like that she was already established, that all of these kids were already established, and it's so fun to watch them come to life.
Mm.
Like all of the kids, like I am a mom of 10
Oh my
kids
God.
and then the 9 girls
Oof.
and 1 boy. Yeah, and then it features also like the boy's best friend Clyde. So it's just crazy. But also, you know, that's an Emmy nominated show on
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. People it's a great show. It's funny. It's for the whole family, so it's really fun. And also like we're not like we are not cartoons. We are
Right.
not like the exact replicas. So my character, she has like she's birthed 10 kids and she's got those hips that were made for
Yeah.
birthing. And not that I don't have like a figure, but I don't have quite those hips. And I was like, oh my gosh, are they gonna do
You're
something
gonna
to
pad
me? Or are they
me?
gonna and they didn't, because I'm just Muretta, like living this character. I would have been fine with it because that would have just been really fun. But we're not like, it's not hokey. It's,
Right.
these are real people now that based off of the cartoon. So it's fun. It was so fun to shoot. I'm really like looking forward to, families getting together over the holidays and watching it because that's one of I think just cozying up on the couch
Yeah.
with a Christmas movie. It's fun. It's a good
Did you
time.
guys have to match your voices at all, or were you able to just use your own voices?
You for them, I guess it goes like for me, like I found her and she inside of me, like so there is a like a tweak of the
Mhm.
voice. But and some characters did match it more just because one of them, Lisa, who like I mean, you're not supposed to have favorite kids, but she's right up there, and she has like a lisp, and
Okay.
so definitely that got incorporated. There's some tonal structure that we did mimic, but that just I think came naturally
Yeah.
for a lot of the cast. Yeah.
That's so fun. I mean, being a part of a Christmas movie is great because I mean, that's something that you will watch every single year over and over and over again. Um so what was that like? Cuz usually Christmas films you film them in what, the summer, spring, and it's always just so bizarre to see like trees and whatnot. And you're like, what in the heck is going on? When did you guys do this movie?
We filmed it in May in Atlanta, and there was, some of it was like on location, and then some was in a studio. And there was one, actually, the first day we were shooting was a snowball fight outside, and they
Oh
dropped.
my
They had a
gosh.
machine making snow. It was
Fun.
it was one of those where you like you got off the van and you were walking towards set and it was like, oh,
Magic.
because it really was. And it was, everyone was just so happy to be there and just the energy. And I should say it was my first day on set. I'm not sure if it was everyone's. But we were in these snowsuits and
Oh.
it was hot.
Oh.
So luckily, I mean, we were like throwing snowballs, but that was definitely something
A
that
little
you're like,
challenging.
oh,
I'm warm.
yeah, yes, I'm sweating in this right now, but yeah, yeah, it was just fun. I mean, to have that Christmas vibe
Yeah.
in the summer, especially like in the kind of this little bit of like a gloomy pandemic
Yeah.
state, I could
Yeah.
say that we all like go in and out of. Yeah, it was just nice to come into that Christmas cheer.
I love that. Well, I can't wait to watch that movie. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so cute.
It is gonna be so cute. So these kids are so cute. I this is one cute story of it's about like that first day. There's the youngest daughter. Probably she's like a baby on the show, but she was older, even though she was like very petite. My job was to just keep her like
Oh.
safe during this snowball fight. Besides like the acting, I feel like whenever you're a parent, like playing a parent on a TV show or a commercial, like half of that is just wrangling
Mhm.
kids and like making sure that they stay safe. And it's very much like a mom role. And I was holding her like as we were having the snowball fight, and she's like, "Let me down. I want to get down." And I was like, "Okay." And she just like chucked these snowballs. Like she knew what she wanted. She had great aim, and I was like, "Oh, okay, you're on your own, kid.
She was
Get
in
them."
it to win it.
Yeah. Oh man. I like that I was like, okay, you're the one to watch. Like
I got my eye on you. Good to know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, you know what you're doing. All right.
Oh wow. Well, on this show, we like to share audition stories from, anything that you would like to share about. So that could be embarrassing ones, that can be funny ones, it can be sad ones, it can be a multitude of them. Do you have anything that you would like to share with the listeners?
Oh yeah. Well, I have definitely had that trauma in the car ride home, like of like, oh my gosh, why did I say that or what just happened? But like with most of my trauma, I like it gets like blacked out, it
Yeah.
just becomes like just all mushed together as part of the experience and somehow ends up being okay or buried. I'm not sure where it is. But I do have a phase of my life as like an actress in LA where I don't know why. Well, I can probably figure it out, but I had this vibe of like I'm not going to memorize these lines. Like you haven't paid me yet.
Oh dear.
So like right. I did this probably the first couple of years where I would and I like these are things that of course I didn't book, but I was like having great opportunities, but I would go in, I had my script in hand. I would know it, but I wouldn't like this dialogue, which was maybe even if it was only a page or 2 pages, it wasn't in my bones.
Mm.
Like you need it to be, and I think it was before self tape boom, and but I just looking back, I cannot believe that I just had this kind of a little bit of like a chip on my shoulder, pride, like I'm like, no, you know what? Like I'm not doing this until you pay me.
Mhm.
And also like there was this time where we were told like keep the script in hand. They want it in the hand. They want to see you fresh and be able to make these changes, they want to see you be able to take direction and
Mhm.
things. And but I cannot believe that I went to so many auditions just having the opportunity to memorize and be off book and just like wouldn't be just kind of out of I don't want to say spite, but like
No,
that's
it's
kind of
not
like
spite, but I think there's something to it, though. I mean, when you're an actor and you have 3, 4, 5 auditions a week, and you have to spend at least 2 hours on each script, depending on how long the sides are. If you have 9 pages of sides for one audition, well, that's several hours of work. And then you're sitting there and you're memorizing, you're memorizing, you're memorizing. I mean, most people don't realize, most listeners too, don't realize that you're spending, X amount of hours just to go into the audition to read, but like 40 other girls are doing it too.
yep. And then you just may never
Yeah.
hear anything and all of this like but now that is part of it. I
Mhm.
have embraced
Yeah.
it, and yeah, because there was definitely a moment where I was auditioning for something, and I was like, oh, and I was very right. Like I know that they liked me. I had a callback for. Oh, because this was it. This was the moment. I was like, this is a callback, and I'm still not off
Oh
book.
no.
Because it was a larger role. And that was the moment afterwards where I was like, oh, I'm really screwing myself over, not
Mm.
not because and I just by habit, like I'm one of those people. If my script is in hand, I'm just gonna look at you, whether it's in me or not, because
Mhm.
it's like just that wanting to be word perfect. Yeah. So that was there was that clicking moment of like, girl, if you want to do this, get it,
Yeah.
like do it. Don't just like go in there and almost self sabotage yourself, But you live, you learn.
Well, yeah,
Who
you
knows?
live, you learn, you realize that it's part of the job and that eventually you
Yes,
will get paid for it. It just might take a little bit.
these are those are the lessons though that I'm like, oh, other people just knew
Right.
this. I had to go. I had to learn this. Mm.
But I mean, it is true. It's like if you're a small business owner, you spend so many hours not getting paid, getting your work together, doing this stuff. And then finally you maybe break even or you finally, start making money off of your small business. And that's kind of what acting is. I mean, auditions are that beginning time of saying, I'm just putting all of my effort into this and we'll see if anything sticks.
Yeah. The beginning of this year, a new media project that called Intersection that I have worked with a group of writers, and we also, as one of the producers, like watched
Mm-hmm.
the casting tapes, and it was just a reminder of like people just want you,
Yeah.
like essences like booked so much,
Yeah.
like we wanted your essence as the character, not like acting is just like if you're a great actor, that's just icing on the cake,
Right.
but like we just really need you to be who you are and say these lines. So it was a great reminder after that to be like, oh, my greatest gift is myself.
I mean, it's true though. We're all different people and we bring a different thing to characters, and it's
Yes.
you have your own energy on tape. I will say that I had I was doing a casting, not a workshop shop. It was like a class. It was like a 4-week class with some casting directors out here in LA. And I did it this summer, and they said that the self-tapes over the pandemic some of them were so like unwatchable because everyone had lost their energy. They'd lost
Oh.
that thrill, that sense of like danger almost that you have when you go into an audition room and you're like, oh man, here it is, I gotta like perform. It
Yes,
brings an
yeah.
energy, and they were saying that they saw such a shift in energy because nobody was going into rooms anymore, and it was like everyone just kind of like went dead, like flatlined, because
I can
we all
see
just
that.
are
Yeah.
so like we are so wanting human connection that they were like, everyone needs to up their energy levels on self tapes.
Huh. Well, that's like a little heartbreaking to hear, but like you can definitely just see how that would naturally happen
Yeah.
over the pandemic. But I self-tape all the time. Like that's just what you do. Like when I guess you're not in LA or New York, or I mean, but now during the pandemic,
Everyone's
everyone's
here,
doing it.
yeah.
Uh, and if when there are in-person auditions, it's like their connection with the casting director, like
Yeah.
whoever's in the room, like that's like important. And I do so much better like in
As do
persons just
I.
because yeah, like I love
I
connection.
like the
That's my
connection, and it's
thing.
like, especially if it's casting directors that you've gone in for so many years, or outside of the casting office, and you're able to like actually see people and be like, oh my god, hi, how are you, how's blah 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 blah. It just is like, it's that extra layer of like comfort but also excitement
Yeah.
because you get to perform for them, and it's like, oh man, I've been doing this. Whereas like if you're self-taping, it's like, oh, I gotta call my friend and I have to perform in front of them again, man, they're sick of me.
Right. And then also there's a thing of like I know like you got to be smaller for the camera and things, which I understand. I mean, I totally understand this. But I think sometimes in this that's why you have to be a good
Mm-hmm.
auditioner, because in the room it it like you lose that little like spark
Yeah.
sometimes of you. I mean, or when you're
Yeah.
taping that you would just naturally bring out in the room. Huh.
It's been
Huh.
an interesting thing. How long I know everybody has their own method with self-taping. So how many takes do you give yourself?
So it like I go out and I tape with different
Smart.
taping services here. Yeah, so it's mostly there's a part of me that's like I don't have the time to do the favors
Mhm.
of, like I tape you, you tape me, and um so and then, that feels more like the
Right.
room because you're going in and you have to
You
get
have
it
a
done,
set time that you
within
have to
20
be
minutes.
there. You have to be on your shit. Excuse my language. You have to be on your shit.
Yeah,
You have to
no.
be like ready to go because you can't waste this person's time, and obviously you don't want to pay more.
Right. Yeah, and they don't have time for you. Like I can tell if I'm like wearing someone out. But usually I'm I'll I'll run it through just the words without taping, and then tape one, and if I flub it, do it again. But you have to get it in like 2 takes, 3 takes
Mm-hmm.
max, but that's only if there's a flub. And even then when I watch it back, I'm like, "Oh, it's not like the I don't think that our auditions are as precious as we think they
Mm-hmm.
are." Like, you know, some casting directors say they watch the first 5
Yeah.
seconds. So you just it's like it is essence and you're are you this character like right away? So I if I mess up on like if I'm not stutter, but
If there's a
if
flub,
something's like a little
yeah,
I like I embrace
right.
it. I think those are sometimes the like where the character will come out.
Well, and it's
So
human. Nobody
yeah.
speaks in perfect, rhythm or cadence or whatever. It's just very human to have that moment of a flub or a moment of like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I still have like a self-tape setup at home though, where if there's like, you know, because you just had to during like the peak of the pandemic, like you couldn't go out anywhere. Not that there was crazy auditions during that time,
Yeah.
but and also if there's like no no lines, you know, and I'll just like work it
Mm-hmm.
because it I mean, it costs money too every time you go tape, and
Yeah,
if you're busy, you know,
that's a
it's
lot.
like, oh, but to me, ultimately is just worth it to get out of the house and
Yeah.
like feel more professional with it.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's a really smart way to, as we were talking about earlier, keep that energy up and keep that spark in you alive, is to be in front of a person that you're not comfortable with really, or you're comfortable with but you're not like BFFs with, to have that person like, standing there and watching you. I mean, that's what you need.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to worry about lighting, you
Yeah.
know, like you like somebody else, you got me. Great. Now I can just be because it even if there's just so life is really busy right
Yeah.
now. It like on top of acting, I don't know what I'm doing, but you know, like it
Yeah,
just is it is busy.
which is good.
So
Um
yeah, no.
you brought up intersection, and I just want to talk to you real quick about that because you co-created it and you were part of the
Mhm.
writing and you starred in it. So what was that like for you to be on the creative behind the scenes side of stuff?
It is interesting. You know, we were planning on shooting this right before the pandemic
Mm,
hit. I think like a week or two, like we were supposed to when lockdown happened, and it's so crazy that I mean that what we've
oh, I
gone
know.
through. Uh, so we and this is about like a town like that's going through gentrification, and
Mm,
then we basically rewrote it in the first year of the pandemic, just because of the heightenedness of the Black Lives Matter movement and just some of our own like ignorances and so we rewrote it because it just needed to be
yeah.
because this is you know taking place now. um so that was so many zooms
Mm,
over the pandemic with the writing team, and it is like I Zoom exhaust. Like,
yeah.
you're not gonna see me in a Zoom acting class. Like, I don't. To me, it's like the phone. Like, I wouldn't even order pizza or pick up the phone as a child. Like, that was torture to me. So this that was that was exhausting.
Oh gosh.
But it's it was so rewarding. Like in March of this year, we filmed it, and the collaboration, the people, everyone just wanting to be a part of something, create art. It was like soul inspiring.
Mm,
Like like being creative and creating is that's where the spark is. That's why for me, I love it. I love creating, and yeah, and just having so many people that were willing to work and work hard and long days on it was great. But ultimately, like I, as a producer, like you're not like you're part of a team,
mhm.
and you have to like that working together. It's um, and working so fast paced, there were just some things that we had to just forgo because we were still in a pandemic,
Mhm.
or we just didn't have the resources. We did a I think a Seed and Spark campaign, and that money just runs out
Real
really
quick.
quickly on yeah. So I'm so happy it's getting like shopped to like festivals now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because ultimately we wanted it to pick up as like a TV show. It's new media right now. We shot 6 episodes, but it just such a great. Our writing team was great. I'm so happy to be a part of it.
That's amazing.
And acting too. Like I like when you write your character, you're like, yeah. It's just,
You're like, I know this character. I am there. I'm ready.
got it. Yep.
Well, it has been such a pleasure talking to you, and I am so excited to watch A Loud House Christmas. Where can everyone follow you on social media to keep up with all the things you have happening?
At Muretta Moss on Instagram and Twitter. And I also have social media burnout, so I'm also on TikTok if you want to watch some cat and squirrel videos.
Oh, wait, cat and squirrel videos?
There's my cat is an indoor-outdoor cat, creates a lot of stress because it is a wild, wild world out there. But these squirrels in our yard, she'll just sit there, watch, creep, and then the squirrel will be like, no, and like go after her. They'll do like zoomies around the backyard. I can't tell if they're playing. But it is that's like what I did like a lot of the pandemic, just sitting on my back deck and like watching this mayhem between my cat and the squirrels and being like, what are y'all doing? Are y'all
love
friends?
that so much. I have to watch
Yes,
these.
yeah. Are you a cat person?
I'm an all animal person. Listen,
Same.
I'm a huge dog person, of course. I love cats. I have cats too, but I'm just like everything. If I could have a cow in my backyard right now, I'd get a cow. Like, just give me all of them.
We did have chickens at one point, which I think is just, yeah. I mean, it sounds super fun. I mean, I don't even know now looking back, like we raised them from little chicks.
Babies.
They were so cute. But some of them like passed away. I don't know what happened. And then like we had a rooster, so we like literally were waking up the neighborhood and ultimately gave them away because we weren't getting the eggs. The rooster was out of control. Like you couldn't go in the backyard without it coming after you. So
the rooster was
yeah, literally, like because we would let them. They have their coop, and then you open it up, and we still had this like fence, and then he would just jump and go after you. And I was like, very pretty because we got those like designer birds, like that would do the pretty colored eggs, but never saw one of them.
Oh my god! Well, there's a lesson for you kids. Don't get a chicken.
Yeah. They sound cool, but no.
Oh wow. Well, thank you again. And yeah, I'm so excited to see what you do next and see what happens with your series, and good luck. I'm so excited.
Well, thanks. I'm excited to see you too. I'll have to interview you next time.
Oh wait, yeah, you have a podcast,
know more about
don't you? Or you're starting a podcast.
Yeah. But it is not about acting. It's about co-parenting, and it's totally different. So if you ever date a man with some kids and want to talk about it, I'll have you on there.
Amazing. I will keep you updated and let you know if that ever happens to me.
Actually call me before while y'all are just dating. I'll give you some tips.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, thank you again. It was so nice to chat with you today.
It was. Thank you for having me. See ya.
Thanks again to Muretta for coming on the show and spending a little time with me. Make sure to tune in to A Loud House Christmas on Nickelodeon November 26th, and it will also be available on Paramount Plus. I know I am so excited to see it, so make sure to tune in. Next week, we have the wonderful Danielle Lawson. She is starring in the new film King Richard. She plays Isha Price. We talk all about what it was like working with Will Smith and filming this incredible true story of the Williams sisters. And I am so excited to see that movie. It gives me chills every time I watch a trailer. So tune in next week. Until then, make sure to follow us on social media. Those links are in the show notes. And rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to it now. And as always, thanks for coming in.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.